We left pigsties at research on Sunday the 4th after dropping a couple of veterans off. I elected to come up the channel to try and avoid the weather. We entered Great Taylor's Bay and it was doing just that, blowing 25 knots. We anchored on the lee shore in Mickey's Bay out of the wind. Thankfully, the wind died down after tea. Now, Monday, the 6th of October, around 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard the wind increase. I checked my anchor pro, it said we were still holding, so my decision was to move as soon as we'd finished breakfast. I woke at 6:30 to a westerly howling gale, force 9, 75, 80 knots. It sounded like a freight train coming down on us. I started the main engines and woke the crew. At the same time, I heard a loud bang. This was something huge. It literally sounded like something major snapped. Looking at the forecastle, I realised we'd lost our bowsprit and snapped the snubber. The whole bowsprit snapped off. Bow rail was only being held on by the skin of its teeth, one screw, and not by much. This meant the weight of the ship was on the Blake slip and the Sampson post, but because the chain was no longer over the roller, it meant it was soaring through the timber gunnel. Now, whether it was because of the age of the boat or the bowsprit just being too old, it or it gave up the ghost. 55 tons of vessel dancing around was too much on the roller. Eventually, something had to give. I was glad it didn't happen at 2 o'clock in the morning. With me at the helm and engineer Chris and crewman Keith on the forecastle, we spent the next 80 minutes trying to winch the cable in. Me using the engines to take the load off the chain, Chris operating the winch, and Keith giving me directions. Both crew members were on comms. The trouble was the bowsprit was still attached to the chain via the safety pin and constantly getting jammed all the time we were battling gale force winds. With 90% of the chain recovered and most of the port gunwale well and truly damaged, it jammed permanently. We were at the 5 metre mark. The anchor was close to but not above the surface. The only way to try and get the bowsprit off was to use boat hooks. We snapped two of those. Eventually, it meant the pin had to be cut with a grinder. So, with this done, we could manage to get the anchor above the ground, above the water. Now, we steamed back to the marina, contacted the shipwright, insurance, and tried to get things underway. Wednesday, the 15th, we were lifted out. But wait, there was more trouble. The clean lift dropped into a sinkhole, causing a lot of trouble. Anyway, Friday the 17th, we started work on another job while James worked on the bowsprit. Chris and I finished work in the engine room. With the new bowsprit fitted and in place, it was cut to length, and then work continued on the side cap. Tuesday the 28th, with the bowsprit in place, the side cap completed, we was on to undercoating what work we had to do. Saturday the 1st, we had the gunnel caps ready for paint. 2 coats later, it was on to doing some work on the hull. The bowsprit was cut to length and masked up ready for paint. While we had it, we remarked the anchor chain and worked on the cleaning the chain up. Fiberglass work on the bowsprit. Rain meant that we had to cover the whole thing with a tarp so James could work on it. The side cap was looking nice. New section of the gunnel in place. We'd taken the starboard rail off to do our work, sand and clean up and reseal the cracks that were coming undone. This was clamped in place, resin poured into it, and then sanded off again, ready for painting. The new gunnel you can see there, spliced in. The gunnel, both sides, we can anyway. Side cap painted, look good. we elected to do some clean up with some acid wash. We cleaned up both sides of the ship and touched up with paint, boot topping topped up. With both sides done with the acid wash, it was onto the top coat of the gunnel. Finished the boot top painting. Then it was James gluing and putting the new stainless steel piece in place, and then the bow rail attached. Then it was onto rollers, and these were done while we were back in the water, and then of course onto the course.